But we really don't know the associated ovarian cancer risks. And that's really important because if the risk is high, this woman should be protected by being offered preventive surgery. So it really would change care. And so far there have not been large, well-powered studies of penetrance or associated cancer risk with these mutations in general. And so what we did was to use a large database from a testing laboratory to look at penetrance or associated cancer risk of ovarian cancer with these gene mutations. And so we had 95,500 plus, I think it was 531 total patients, and so really a large sample size and upwards of 5,000 ovarian cancer patients. So that was a real strength of the study. We were able to use a few different statistical methods to analyze the risk of ovarian cancer or penetrance, and we used these few different methods as sort of a backup check to make sure our results would be relatively consistent. And so what we found was quite interesting. We found that about 14% of all the ovarian cancer patients did have a genetic mutation on this panel, and that about a third of them were in what I would describe as unexpected genes that sort of aren't typical for our standard testing. And so that was interesting. A number of them were genes that we typically think of as breast cancer genes, not necessarily ovarian cancer genes. So I think will really be interesting in terms of understanding the ovarian cancer risk. I think caveats always to this type of study is that it is a sample that is obtained from clinical practice, which is not the same thing as a carefully controlled trial. And so there are always questions there about data collection methods and those sorts of things. But to the best of our ability, we think that these are reasonably valid based on prior work and based on what we see through different analytic methods. And at this point, I think this is going to be something that needs further study, but is quite interesting in terms of the ovarian cancer risks we see.